Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and I find myself once again called to adventure in the Fabled Lands. Now, the episodes of this series which occur in Utaku and Otakuna might be a little bit slower forthcoming. There is a minor copyright issue with the music used in these lands. The game's composer wasn't able to compose anything in time for these lands to be released, and so some copyrighted music was used, which means that videos I do in these areas might suffer a minor copyright claim that I can resolve fairly quickly. Fingers crossed. I was able to resolve the last one, and the same solution may work going forwards. If this series stops abruptly, or you see me turn around and go to another place, that would be the reason why. Now, when last we left off, we had learned that a local innkeeper had been up to something very, very wicked. Nefarious, one could even say. He had been luring people to his local tavern with rumours of a monster that killed heroes, and then he'd kill the heroes and nick their stuff for profit. Let's get out of here. Glad that's all been dealt with, and the local monster was innocent. Now, Crags of the Long Homes, that sounds like a really fun place to visit. It's not exactly the kind of high society subterfuge the Baroness asked us to do, but hey, if we head up towards the farmlands, it's along the way. You're travelling across the farmland between Aku and the Ruby River. The occasional village and summer lodge breaks up the monotony of the grain fields. The peasants are bonded serfs, working for the landowners, the masked lords of Utaku. You're walking through the green countryside when a man on a flying throne swoops down out of the sky. He has bright blue eyes and a long white beard that trails behind him in the wind for several feet. He looks completely out of his mind. "Ha ha!" he cries insanely. "It's another visit from Huliamu the Unbidden!" He flies past and drops a bucket of foul-smelling liquid over your head before disappearing into the sky, laughing madly. The stuff smells like skunk juice. Lose one charisma permanently. Oh, that's annoying. That's just a permanent stat loss. We'll just have to get some more. Foul smelling. Can we remove that? Is there a cure for that? There's gotta be a cure, right? Oh well. The crags of the Long Homes form a range of low, broken foothills rising up to the peaks of the Grooms to the west. An elfin-featured lady is sunning herself on top of one of the long mounds which you know contains the bones of the dead. She looks up brightly as you approach. "Greetings, my green guild gallant. The shrill shades of Shadar shamble still underfoot. Are you holy enough to haul the hordes from these halls, hero? You choose a chill charnel house to challenge your chances. Enough, lady. Have you anything of use to tell me?" The woman fixes you with green eyes. "These homes are sacred, and not for the greedy or the guilty. You must indeed be sure of your right arm and your righteous cause to dare enter here." With that, she bids you farewell and disappears. A green butterfly flutters away from where she was sitting. I have no cause to enter into these at this point. Use for black diptych? I have no such thing. Explore a barrel man at random? No, I'll just leave the crags. Fog closes in fast all about you. The thick banks of mist make it impossible to get a sense of direction. Towering, dark shapes loom out of the gloom to either side, increasing your unease. They may be standing stones, but... Aha! We made it safely out of there. This looks like a fun place to go. You're travelling through the countryside of Otaku, east of the Grooms. Passing through a clump of woodland, you are put on your guard by a rustling in the undergrowth. Two men, one short and one with a beard, step boldly out in front of you.
Give up your equipment and gold, stranger. I have a dozen archers, crack shots to a man hidden in the woods. Try to resist and you'll be skewered.
Give up all my equipment? No, attack the bandits. Try to take one of them as hostage. You try to take one of them as hostage. Gotcha! You dart towards the man, closer to you, and before he can react, you have him in an arm lock with a knife at his throat.
Drop your weapons, lads!
He squawks. After leading your man a good distance away, you club him over the head. You find 15 shards and a set of magic lockpicks, which give +2 thievery on him. You roll him unconscious into a ditch and hurry on your way before his cronies catch up. Now that has pretty much filled my pack. So I'll need to be careful. Probably drink one of these potions of godliness. I surely do not need 3 of them. A troll bridge. Let's go to these central grooms. Grooms, as these mountains are called. Your boots become caked in red dust as you clamber through the mountains of the central grooms. A path opens out over a narrow, steep valley at the north end, of which is a curious-looking cave. Do I have some kind of candle or lantern? I do not. It may be folly to enter into such a cavern, so I will depart. Oh, the western countryside. Let's go down the other side of the mountains and see what we find. You are travelling through the countryside of northwest Otaku. And very, very smelly. Surely there will be a way to alleviate this foul stench. Perhaps a nice bath with scented oils and candles. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Let's go here. To Kunrir. Kunrir is a sprawling port city on the west coast of Otaku. The satrap of Kunrir is a high-caste masked noble of Otaku. He and his court live in a fine palace on a hill overlooking the city. Around the base of the hill are the homes of the important people in the city. The lowliest areas are furthest from the hill. The bazaar of Kunrir is a thriving market. The merchants here have a wide variety of goods for sale. I should probably have just come on my ship. Oh wait, is that it? Is that a condition that can be removed? Oh! Wait a minute. Do we just need to go to the Blessed Springs? That'll probably do it. And our ship is all the way over here in Wishport, isn't it? Right. Let's see what's for sale at the marketplace. Well, I don't need an additional set of magic lockpicks. And I do have a slight shortage of funds. An enchanted crossbow. Intriguing. Nice looking battle axe. That is a nice, serious looking weapon. A Shadar spear. Oh, a selenium wand. I can get one of those if I go up north. And I've got half the stuff to do so. Gloves of Sig. Okay, these are fancy, very expensive items. A centaur's flute. Well, I've got a full complement for now. 1, 2, 2, 1. So I don't need a musical instrument. Cross-staff trinket. It will unerringly guide you towards your destiny, whatever that may be. So it's a trinket you tie across a staff or something else? Or like a little cross that you tie to a stave? A sextant. Ooh, hello, nice. Spotted scarf trophy. Reinvent yourself and get in touch with your inner spark with the understated but positively fabulous pattern of this accessory. I wonder if there's actually a really good use of that somewhere. A striped scarfs trophy. I can probably get these from an arena or something as well. Uncanny souls. A lantern. Well, let's sell these magical lockpicks then. And with our remaining funds, I think we should probably just hold on to them for a bit for now. I mean... yes. No, that's from the potion. Okay. You have several options while in Kunria, or one of them, in fact. Ship minerals from a mine in the Gruulers. I'd need my ship here for that. Find a ship called Wrath of God. I do not need to do that yet. I'll stroll through the streets then. You take a stroll through the streets of Kunria. Ah! Today is a day of special religious significance to the people of Otaku. A holy day sacred to Ebron, the celebration of the burning of the heretics in hell. You are stopped by 3 members of the Soul Watch, the religious police. The patrol is accompanied by several expungers, the elite guards of Otaku. I have neither a spotted scarf nor a striped scarf. One of the Soul Watch hisses in a voice resonant with rage.
Why are you not wearing a scarf, you evil blaspheming devil? You have committed a crime of lesser heresy. Everyone must wear a striped scarf on the day of the burning of the heretics in hell. You must pay a penance of 75 shards.
I'm terribly sorry, I'll pay the fine. You hand the Soul Watch the catch. Their black masks, shaped like the Uskem, the avenging demons of Eberron, nod imperceptibly. One of them hands you a striped scarf.
See that you do not blaspheme again, or you will join the heretics in hell, he whispers.
They glide away, and I bet I need the spotted scarf in a different town. Do I wear it? A trophy. Trophy goes nowhere? Then I'll just keep it. I should probably buy the other one as well, just to be like, no, that might get me in trouble. They go, you've got the wrong scarf. I probably shouldn't... The House of Sweet Repose is a pleasant inn with a stately garden. The inn costs you 1 shard a day. Each day you spend here, you can recover 1 stamina point if injured up to the limit of your normal unwounded stamina score. I can't spend money here to learn rumours. I think I should visit the temples. The cathedral is a tall, many-tiered structure of dark stone covered in hideous gargoyles and the carven masks of demons. You are not allowed to enter unless you are a member of the Church of Ebron. Go to Aku and apply at the central cathedral there if you wish to join, says a Soul Watch guard. I am already a worshipper of another god, however, so I probably won't be able to do that. Ah, Lacuna, of course. Now, I'll leave Kunria and head off down this western road towards the very large city at the southern end of the land. You are journeying along the road between Aku and Kunria. Mercifully, no harmful events occur. From a distance, the towers of Aku seem to hover in the air like a city in a mirage. Gardens of riotous foliage cascade like green waterfalls from the elegant pinnacles and domes. Windows of brightly stained glass glint and sparkle in the white sea-cast sunlight. Choir music drifts languidly from the highest minarets. Men and women in gorgeous silk robes glide decorously along the raised esplanades and balconies. For the masked nobles of Aku, life is one long round of banquets and masked balls. Not so for the poor. The city is built right across the top of a narrow river canyon, hundreds of feet high. The rich live in the city proper. The better-off merchants have mansions on the upper ledges of the canyon walls, and the slums of the poor cluster far down below. There they must endure the daily shower of sewage and refuse from above, but even so, many covet the sites directly under the city. This is because the nobles sometimes toss scraps of meat or half-eaten fruits from the balconies, or even whimsically drop coins off the marble balustrades. A desperate man can always dream of a windfall from on high. Guards stand on duty beside the ramps leading to the noble palaces, as stiff and unmoving as figures of cast iron. These men are members of the expunger caste. Their tunics are cut away, leaving the right arms bare from the shoulder down, the skin patterned with a black filigree of tattoos swirling down the forearm and hand towards the long, iron-hard fingernails with which they can slay a foe with a single cobra-like stab. On the terraces of the canyon wall just below you are the warehouses and homes of the merchant class. A few shrubs are the only decorative touch to relieve the grey tedium of those narrow-peaked roofed dwellings. Aku is the capital of Utaku. A great palace resting on massive buttresses sits above the city like a spider. In the palace lives the faceless king and the nobles of the court of hidden faces. You ask a passerby about the people of Utaku. He tells you to go to an inn where your questions will be answered. No matter how many spectacular places a seafarer has visited, Aku's harbour neither fails to take one's breath. No matter how many spectacular places a seafarer has visited, Aku's harbour never fails to take one's breath away. It is situated at the base of a narrow gorge that gives straight out into the sea. Ships with high-armoured masts and great paddles at their flanks ride at anchor beside the marble quays. To either side, the cliffs sweep up hundreds of feet, blotting out the sun so that longshoremen must rely on the huge bronze mirrors set at the top of the cliffs to get enough light to see by. Far ahead, the city itself is built on soaring buttresses that span the entire gorge, a complex of labyrinthine palaces and terraced gardens that seem pinned against the glare of the sky. A bystander points to the steep paths that wind up the cliffs to the city. Wiry men with thick sedan chairs wait there at the bottom for custom. What a truly magnificent and ornate city. A great, beautiful, detailed description indeed. I believe we should... No, we'll go to the marketplace first and see what may be for sale. Highly expensive items. Oh, very expensive. A little beyond our current finances. The spotted scarf and striped scarf are both here. I wonder which takes priority if I have both in the that event now. Potions to help with dice rolls, okay. A harbour, Matricians. You know what? I could book passage to Matricians and sail my ship back here. What are they interested in purchasing? Okay, so furs, grain. I think I can get rain for 90 or 95 in Matricians. Mineral, not a good price. Spices, if I can find a good place where spices are cheaper, I'll remember that. Metals at 635. Timber at 200. Actually, the metal is good. I could, the wood, rather. I could get wood from the Isle of the Druids. And possibly Matricians or Witchport or the other one. One of the southern ports in Golmir. You find a place called the Inn of the Thousand Masks. It costs you 1 shard a day. The usual inn spiel. It is frequented by foreigners. There are no masked Utakin here at all. You pick up several snippets of information whilst listening to the locals talk. Utaku is a theocracy ruled by priests, and their interpretation of the word of their god, Ebron, is law. Everyone warns you about the Soul Watch, the fanatical secret police always on the lookout for heretics. The faceless king of Utaku is more like a priest than a king. Whenever he dies, a new king is chosen from the population. The only criterion, for kingship is that the candidate must be born without a face. Each mask worn by the nobles of Utaku is an indication of his status. Indeed, it defines his very existence, so someone born without a face is said to have been chosen to rule by Ebron himself. There are many opportunities for an enterprising adventure to acquire wealth and fame in Otaku if you are careful. The Grand Bazaar is a good place to set up shop as an entertainer, a healer, or whatever. You just have to be careful not to offend the priests. The best way to get on is to join the Church of Ebron and become a worshipper. Once you have joined the church, you are judged to be a citizen of Otaku. Then you can gain access to the palace, which I probably need to do if I'm going to work as a spy. The inner court is alive with intrigue, and the ministers of the Court of Hidden Faces are always looking for people to perform tasks for them, so that they can advance within the court. Naturally, they pay well. If you can curry enough favor with them, you might get an audience with the Faceless King himself, and if you can win his patronage, then you can begin to amass real power and wealth. When you are ready, you can leave the tavern. It sounds like we're in a similar situation to Golnir here, where there is a central location where we need to go to get everything and do everything. The Otakin originally came from a desert land, and it shows in their insatiable taste for gushing fountains, songbirds, flower-fringed ponds, and lush, overhanging foliage. Ever-polished marble pavement is a lattice of sunlight and blossom-scented shadow. Every polished marble pavement is a lattice of sunlight and blossom-scented shadow. Every wall a mural of ivy and bright flowers. The skyline of towers and domes looks like a mural of delicate pastel colours against the deep, cloudless blue. Let me see, we have the Grand Bazaar, the Ice Bazaar, the Red Garden, the slums, the streets. Ice Bazaar? We can buy ice, maybe? I'll visit the Grand Bazaar. The Grand Bazaar of Aku lies at the top of the cliffs, to the side of the Great Spider Palace. It is the biggest marketplace you have ever seen. There are many stalls and street entertainers and merchants of all kind, mostly charlatans, of course. There are many unusual stalls you can visit. Indeed, you can set up a stall of your own if you wish. I won't. Visit the Ameliorator of Afflictions. Amelioration is to remove. The Ameliorator of Afflictions offers to cure you of any diseases, poisons, curses, or wounds. His price is 150 shards. It's gone. Why is it gone? My charisma's back up. It's already cured. That didn't last long. It said permanently. It seems to have not been so permanent. Game, are you messing with me? No cures or diseases for now. I will leave the stall. And leave the bazaar. I would like to visit... I'm not going to visit the Red Garden. I remember how badly that went last time. Even as a member of the crowd, I don't want to risk offending people and getting hurled into my death. The Ice Bazaar is a huge underground warehouse near sea level. Inside, blocks of rime ice are stacked high. This ice comes from Lake Rime water in the far north, and it has a peculiar quality of taking months to melt. It is used by the Master Lords of Utaku to refrigerate their sherbets and sorbets. You can sell a satchel of rime ice here if you have one for 100 shards. You cannot buy rime ice here. While I have none whatsoever, it's up here, isn't it? Is it here or up here for rime water? It's got to be there, hasn't it? It does look like the Great Steps is the place where I must go. Have I dealt with Koshai the Deathless yet? No active quest. No, okay. Hall of Heroes. I've done that. And a Katsurai is waiting, but also very dangerous. The masked spy. I would pretty much need to acquire a mask and enter into the castle, the Grand Palace. Nothing here yet. I'd like to explore a little and see if there's anything up here. So once again in the marketplace, do I want to sell anything? No. I shall depart from this city and head up the Western Road. You are journeying along the road between Aku and Kunrir. No event, fortunately. To Kunrir then I shall go. A city we have visited but recently. Here I can sell the climbing gear and the striped scarf. I don't believe I should. All of these items are very fancy and very tempting, but for now I shall refrain from making such a purchase. You are travelling through the countryside of northwest Otaku. You come to a village where a priest of Ebron, dressed in ragged robes and looking as if he hasn't washed in weeks, is addressing a crowd of peasants. He is exhorting them to kill a dog that belongs to the local shepherd. "This foul beast," he yells, pointing at the dog which sits watching the proceedings as curious as you, "has committed heresy. It has herded sheep on a day sacred to Ebron and must suffer for its crime." The priest goes on to say how the peasants will also be guilty in the eyes of Ebron if they do not enforce the holy laws. He rants on, a fanatic gleam in his eye. The villagers are soon whipped into a fervour and prepare to do the dastardly deed. Look, this is a theocracy. The priest has the power here. If I gainsay him, the crowd are highly unlikely to look kindly upon me. I'll leave them to it. House of the Unbidden. Well, I have not been bid to come here. You are travelling across northwest Otaku. The countryside is rocky and sparse, largely uninhabited, save for the occasional goat herder. You spot a squat tower of red stone in a field. It appears to be floating a couple of inches off the ground. A sign leans drunkenly nearby. It reads, written in a crazy scrawl, "The House of Holy Armu the Unbidden. Visitors welcome to buzz off." I've met Holy Armu the Unbidden before. He threw a bucket of stinky stuff over me. If I go in there now, he might do it again, or worse. And I don't have reason to visit him. I imagine someone in the masked court of 1,000 faces might give me a reason to come here. Ah, Icicle Forest. That sounds intriguing. You have arrived in the Icicle Woods, where the trees are tall columns of blue crystal, 3 or 4 times the height of a man, and the leaves are frosty tendrils of ice. The fruit of these trees resemble icicles of turquoise crystal. The floor of the forest crunches crisply underfoot, for it is a layer of frozen hoarfrost. It is cold but eerily beautiful, and the crystal trees vibrate in the wind, a sound like the strings of a violin being played. Yes, frost sprites! That sounds interesting. Something is watching you. That's got to be a fun one as well. Okay. You reach an area of the wood where small clumps of ice berries hang from crystal branches. They look like clear blue marbles. Tiny creatures sit among the branches, sucking the juice from them and throwing the skins onto the ground. You pay little heed to this until 3 particularly noisy ones start chirping and throwing the berry skins directly at you. You tell them to stop that, and they sit staring at you, sniffing the air with a look of disgust on their tiny white faces. They are skirrets, a common frost sprite, relatively harmless but devilishly mischievous. They are no more than 8 inches tall, with pointed features, spindly limbs, and long, thin fingers. The only useful thing about skirrets is that they know everything that happens in the woods and forests they live in. Yeah, I'll ask them for information. Although they are pulling faces at you and whispering insults about the smell of humans, you ignore it and greet them as politely as you can through gritted teeth, which are probably also chattering from the cold. They stop whispering and look at you with their beady little eyes.
What do you want, human? This is our tree, and you're not having any berries, says the largest member of the group.
You tell them that you're not interested in the berries, but would like to hear of anything important going on in the wood. They group together and mutter among themselves for a minute or two.
All right, we'll tell you something, but only for 10 shards,
they reply at last. You know what? I think I can afford 10 shards. You hold out the shards. The skirrets form a chain hanging down from the tree, and the smallest on the end grabs the money. At the same time, it spits on your shoe and giggles uncontrollably. The laughter ripples through the skirrets, and the largest one, anchoring them to the tree, lets go. Seconds later, they are scurrying around on the floor like rodents, then they disappear into the hollow trunk in a panic. The skirrets have yet to tell you anything, so you reach in and grab one. He tells you to head to where the sun sets, then head north when you reach the blue rock.
You'll find a 5-trunked poplar tree. Eat one of its berries and you'll learn something,
squeaks the skirret. What, that 5-trunked poplar tree berries could be poisonous? I will follow his instructions, even though they're probably poking a bit of fun at me. You head west through the trees that lurch upwards, then over like vast... Oh, the trees... Right, okay, yes. You head west through trees that lurch upwards, then over like vast frozen willows. Each one is home to many weird creatures that call and chatter above your head, though they remain hidden in the silvery foliage. It is not long before you see the blue rock, a large, shiny boulder of ice. As you approach it, you are sure you can hear something, and the ground becomes very rocky. They're not like ordinary rocks, for they are smooth and round, and the surface of them changes colour every few seconds. Suddenly, one of them hurls itself up at you and knocks you to the ground. You leap to your feet, and another comes flying towards you. You have encountered the Kriegs, a little-known species said to inhabit cold and undisturbed places. It is said that they form and live underground, but when they feel vibrations above, they push themselves upwards to confront the intruder that dares walking upon their territory. They attack by hurling themselves at their victims and attempt to batter them to death. My defense score is 14 or more, for I am wearing Volcanium Mail and bear an enchanted shield. You know what? I've even got a man-beast helmet. I'd better put that on to protect me from rocks flying through the air straight at my head. There are too many to avoid, but they cannot get past your armour and defences. You simply run through their area of wood, ignoring their assault. Soon you have left the Kriegs behind and come to the 5-trunked poplar tree. The poplar tree stands alone in a clearing and towers above the other trees in the forest. Its 5 trunks twist around each other as they reach upwards to the canopy high above. You look up and see vast berries hanging from the branches. You reach up, take one, and plunge your teeth into the juice-laden poplar berry, drinking in the rich mauve liquid that gushes from it. It tastes like sweet nectar, but as you go to take another bite, your head starts to spin, your knees begin to buckle. And as I suspected, the skirrets probably were playing some kind of devious trick on me, and not just to try and get me killed by the Kriegs. You become aware of a strange hissing sound from the ice trees. The hissing becomes clearer, and you realize that it is the whispered speech of the trees. Can I understand trees now? You listen and hear many things about the goings-on in the icicle wood. The trees tell you about an ancient book buried in the hollow bole of the 5-trunked tree. I should probably look into this. I don't need some kind of digging implement, do I? Inside, you find an ancient codex of the Shadar. It tells of the Cave of Bells, an old Shadar cathedral, and the rituals the Shadar priests used to practice there. It involved the ringing of bells. One called the Whisperer must always be rung first, or dire consequences will follow. The Scepter of Kings lies buried there in the Cave of Bells. The cave itself lies in the City of Ruins on the Great Steppes far to the north. When you are ready, you leave the Icicle Woods. I am not ready. In the Cave of Bells. Right. Now, in the City of Ruins. Right. I got capital C for city. Look, that information could come in very useful, okay? The ringing of bells, the Whisperer must always be rung first. Do I need to go somewhere to learn more of this? And what other reasons would I have for venturing to that city? You know, I will cross the mountains and head towards the Rime Lake. You come to a pass through the great mountains known as the Spine of Harkoon. To the east, the mountains become impassable, and yet northwards. You walk into a large, functional stone building. Inside, a roaring fire gives a welcome relief from the freezing air outside. Several burly men sit around a long table eating. By the door, a portly red-bearded fellow sits behind a desk. He looks up as you enter. "Welcome to the ice mine, milady. I am Jalalul the Red, overseer of the mine by appointment of the Court of Hidden Faces," he says politely. He tells you that the entire lake is formed out of solid ice, and that this ice has the peculiar property of melting at an incredibly slow rate. Indeed, a block of rime ice may last for as long as a year. Naturally, there is money to be made out of this. The miners dig tunnels into the lake and take the ice across the mountains by caravan to the southern cities of the decadent Otaku. There, the masked nobles pay well for the ice, so that their sherbet, wines, and sorbets are nicely chilled. The mine also provides tours of the tunnels. Many lords and ladies of Otaku come here to walk amid the frosted walls. The tour costs 10 shards. So I can check the warehouse nearby, maybe to buy some ice. Go on a tour. I don't want to... No, I'll take my leave. Still haven't been to Tiger Bay very much. You have come to the icebound shores of the Rime Water. Should have probably brought my ship up here. Oh well. The lake is completely frozen over and the ice has a strange sheen to it. 3 sluggish rivers, thick with half-frozen water, that's not debauch, because that's not an A, debauch, into the lake from the north. On the southern shore of the lake sits a small complex of buildings from which smoke spirals into the clear, crisp sky. The ice mine. For now, I think I want to head towards civilization. Grasslands, an infinite sea of flat plains. You begin to dream of rolling hills and cities awash with people. Here there is only desolation. And nothing happens, mercifully. You are deep in the western steppes and night is... Oh, I don't have a wolf pelt, do I? Do I? No. Okay. This is going to be very dangerous then. You are deep in the western steppes and night is falling. To the west you see something glitter on the horizon, the Rime water. To the south the mountains of the spine of Harkoon rise up heavenwards. You're not far enough north for the cold to be a serious problem, but you still need to hunt for food. You bring down a mountain goat to eat. In the morning you set off. I should make the most direct route towards the city as possible, or go south again. Interesting. You're travelling across the southern steppes. To the south, the spine of Harkoon marches across the sky. To the north, endless grasslands stretch away. You come to a desolate ruin. Its cyclopean outer walls, crumbling now, tell of a once great city. I will not explore the city of ruins yet, but I will return at some point. The steppes are vast indeed. Here, in the middle of nowhere, you feel a keen sense of isolation, a lone traveller in an abandoned land. But you notice a welcome change in the endless monotony of the plains, a depression in the earth a little way off. I will continue my journey for now. You are travelling across the plains. To the south lie the mountains of the spine of Harkoon, with white-peaked sky mountains towering above the rest. Night falls and you make camp. The plains are flat and desolate and you need to hunt for food. Fortunately, I have a decent scouting score. You find a wild hare to eat. After an uneventful night, the new day dawns. Sky Mountain casts its morning shadow over you. And I will head to Beladai's camp. I'm aware there are some particularly deadly encounters in the middle there that I'm trying to avoid for now. You're in between the Gemstone Hills and the citadel of Velis Corin. A vast army has made camp here several miles north of the citadel. It is alive with activity. Caravans of supplies and camp followers are everywhere. You notice that it is the army of the Northern Alliance, led by General Beladai. Beladai was the commander-in-chief of King Corin of Sakara's army, before Grieve Marlock usurped his throne. Now the new king in exile has made an alliance with the Horde of the Thousand Winds, the Trow and the Mannequin people of the Sky Mountain. Together they hope to take the citadel and put the king back on the throne. They are readying themselves to march south and lay siege to the citadel, but the citadel is supposed to be invincible. I will take my leave of this camp for now. You're strolling through an area of low, rolling hills, the Gemstone Hills. They are lush and green and covered in woods. It is strangely quiet. There are no birds singing in the trees, and you see no woodland animals. You come across a tall stone slab set into the side of a hill. A rune has been carved on it, which you reckon to be the mark of the Trow, creatures of the underworld. I will not disturb them for now, as I seek shelter from the cold. Yaramaru is a young city. Its buildings are finely constructed houses of wood and stone with pagoda-style roofs. The clan of the White Spear, exiles from the east, rule the city. 100 years ago, civil war raged in Akatsurai. The clan was forced to flee in its ships to the west. Unable to find refuge in Sakara, the clan founded Yaramura. The clan's fiercely loyal samurai warriors easily suppressing the local nomad tribes. The current daimyo, the chief of the clan, is Lord Kumonosu. He dreams of the day he will return to Akatsurai as shogun of the empire. A day which may be coming closer now that ships to Akatsurai do sail. To leave Yaramura by sea or to buy and sell ships, visit the harbour master at the sea barrier. To buy or sell cargo, visit the silk market. I will go to some of these. Yaramura's streets and plazas are cosmopolitan indeed. Finely dressed samurai swagger and strut alongside nomad traders from the plains and merchants and mercenaries from Saqqara and Golnir. This is a city where east meets west. The clan of the White Spear, however, governs it with a rod of iron. Yaramura is in a perpetual state of readiness for war as the armies and fleets of Akatsurai constantly seek to seize the city for the Empire. I will go to the Tower of Bakan. The Tower of Bakan is a tall, forbidding structure. You knock on the gargoyle-adorned doors and are shown into a dark, shadowy room. You sit at a table at the far end of which squats a misshapen form in voluminous robes and indistinct in the darkness. "I am Bakan," rasps a voice. As you watch, the robes begin to shift and rustle as if changing shape. After a few minutes, the voice speaks again, sounding quite different this time. "I have been cursed. Every hour my form changes at random into hideous shapes and creatures that would blight your soul if you were to look upon them. But do not fear, for I will not hurt you." Bakan has searched for ways to deal with curses for many years. If you are cursed, such as the Curse of the Shadar, Bakan can remove it for you, but it will cost you 100 shards.
"You look a brave sort,"
Bakan croaks.
"I need a witch's hand and some parrot fungus if I am to lift my own curse. Bring me these things and I will reward you."
Now, I already have some selenium ore, no parrot fungus, and a witch's hand are required. That is 2 items. Alright, so be it. I shall accept the mission. You accept the mission. When you are ready, you leave. I will visit the marketplace, and I need to avail myself of a wolf pelt. However, this means I will no longer be able to pick up 2 items, so I will sell the climbing gear because I can purchase more here. A Tatsu Pearl, I wonder what that could be used for. And books to do with thievery. I'll visit the Temple District and pick up the Nizoderu quest as well. Tambu, the great spirit of the Plains people, has a temple here. The invaders, however, have brought the religion of Akatsurai with them. Their temples can be found in the Plaza of the New Gods. The Plaza of the New Gods is a large oval, the floor of which is covered in a mosaic of multicolored bricks that depicts a woman whose face shines like the sun, the chief goddess of the pantheon of the Akatsurai. Around the oval are several magnificent temples. Their mirrored spires and gabled pagodas sparkle in the sun. Many people throng the plaza. Priests and holy men, hawkers and hucksters, samurai and nomads. You learn a little about the gods of Akatsurai from them. In the plaza there are temples to Nizoderu, goddess of the rising sun, and queen of the other gods, Juntoku, lord of war, Nai, sender of earthquakes, and Amanushi, master of night. You also hear a rumor that the temple of Nizoderu is looking for a courageous adventurer to help them with a task, and so there we shall go. The temple of Nizoderu, goddess of the rising sun, is built around an open courtyard with a great shrine in the middle, covered in lit candles. Inside, 100 nuns dressed in flowing white robes and wearing elaborate wide-brimmed hats sing a continuous chant in praise of her. The goddess is depicted everywhere as a beautiful woman with a face that shines like the sun. She represents not only the sun, but piety, faith, and purity. The nuns of Nizelderu are skilled in the ways of petitioning the goddess to bring the dead back to life. The High Priestess can give you an audience. Then I shall go speak to her. The High Priestess is covered from head to toe in bright white silks. All you can see are her eyes, like twin orbs of amber. She tells you that the Mirror of the Sun Goddess, a holy relic of the temple, has been stolen. She believes it has fallen into the hands of a steppe nomad, one of the Horde of the Thundering Skies, and asks you to retrieve it for them. In return, the temple will reward you. Only a holy man or woman is worthy enough to handle the mirror, she adds. Fortunately, if we remove the Helm of the Man-Beasts, we have a sanctity of 9, which is very high indeed. I shall accept the mission. You accept the mission. You leave the High Priestess and return to the city. Now, from past experience, I am aware that it is in this crevice over here. More a crevasse, really, yeah. And I think I will set off in search of that in the next episode. I will also attempt to obtain the Witch's Hand and the Parrot Fungus. The Witch's Hand can be found here via a random event here, and there's a random event here to get the merchant who can sell the Parrot Fungus and the Selenium Ore, which we already have. After we get the Parrot Fungus and the Witch's Hand, we will require the Selenium Ore, which we already have, and the reward for that will be a wand that gives +4 to magic. That, I believe, I will be pursuing in the next episode, but for now, I'm going to leave this one here. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode, and I do. Look forward to seeing you all in the very next one. For now, though, I'm going to bid you all a fond farewell. Bye-bye, everyone. See you all soon. Hope you've enjoyed yourselves.